There exists a forbidden truth so powerful that once you understand it, your entire reality will shift in ways you never imagined possible. This secret lies hidden within one of humanity's most private and misunderstood acts: self-pleasure. What if I told you that every time you surrender to this urge without awareness, you're draining one of the most potent forces in existence? What if, instead of mere physical release, the sexual energy you discharge contains the key to unlocking extraordinary mental abilities, healing your body, and expanding your consciousness beyond what modern science dares to explore? For millennia, this wisdom has been guarded by Eastern sages, Western mystics, and secret brotherhoods across the globe. They understood that sexual energy wasn't just biological, it was alchemical, it was divine, a direct portal to the universe's creative power. More importantly, they knew that whoever masters this energy becomes the architect of their own destiny. Today, surrounded by instant gratification, digital stimulation, and a culture obsessed with immediate pleasure, we've lost touch with the sacred. We've reduced this intimate act to something mechanical, void of purpose and intention. But there's another path, one that few dare to walk, a path where pleasure becomes a gateway, where arousal is merely the beginning of a profound journey into your deepest self. You're about to discover ancient wisdom that most will never encounter. We'll unveil the forgotten codes, the timeless practices, and the revolutionary techniques that transform simple self-pleasure into a practice of power and energetic sovereignty. But before we continue, take a deep breath, because what follows may completely shatter your understanding of your body, your emotions, and the source of your personal power. Are you ready to uncover the truth that's been hidden from you for generations? From childhood, we've been programmed to view self-pleasure as natural, harmless, even necessary. We're told it's a safe way to release tension, helps us understand our bodies, and even prevents illness. But is this the complete truth, or merely the tip of an iceberg carefully constructed by a society that has completely lost connection with the sacred nature of the body and vital energy? The adult entertainment industry generates billions annually, feeding a cycle of instant pleasure and energetic depletion. And nobody wants you questioning this system. The more you consume, the more weakened you become. Less clarity, less vitality, less purpose. An energy-depleted body houses a spirit that's easily controlled. But here's a revelation few dare to consider. Unconscious self-pleasure isn't just a harmless habit. It's an escape, a systematic diversion of the most powerful energy you possess. Each time you surrender to impulse without intention, without presence, you're surrendering your energetic sovereignty. You trade minutes of pleasure for days, sometimes weeks of despair, apathy, and mental fog. It's no coincidence that ancient masters from various traditions viewed semen and sexual fluids as the liquid gold of the human body. They knew this substance contained the quintessence of life force. Modern science unknowingly confirms this. Research reveals that semen contains an incredibly high concentration of nutrients: zinc, selenium, magnesium, testosterone, dopamine, serotonin, elements that sustain mood, immunity, clarity, and physical performance. When this energy is released excessively, the body enters deficit mode, the brain becomes imbalanced, the soul grows silent. It's not coincidence that immediately after mindless self-pleasure, many report emptiness, sudden sadness, an abrupt drop in motivation. This has a name: vibrational collapse. But here's where things get even stranger. Addiction to explicit content, often linked to compulsive self-pleasure, literally rewires the brain. Scientists have discovered it activates the reward system so intensely that over time, the brain requires increasingly extreme stimuli to feel pleasure. The result? complete disconnection from reality, from genuine touch, and from your body's subtle energy. Are we witnessing a control mechanism far more sophisticated than we realize? A system that weakens the body, distracts the mind, and imprisons the spirit in a cage of artificial pleasure. Self-pleasure, when performed without consciousness, becomes a cycle of energetic drain. But this doesn't mean desire should be suppressed. On the contrary, desire is sacred. It's the call of creative energy within you. What's missing is the teaching about how to work with it consciously and transformatively. Have you ever wondered why in moments of deep inspiration or creativity, you feel energy vibrating in your belly, chest, and mind? This is the same energy you waste in seconds when you don't know how to channel it. What if self-pleasure could be something completely different from what you've been taught? What if, instead of an escape, it became a ritual, an alchemical process where pleasure elevates to consciousness and the body becomes a sacred temple of power? Now that you've seen how we've been led to believe a partial or even manipulated truth, a new disturbing question emerges. If all this has been concealed, what else did ancient civilizations know about this force so misunderstood in modern times? When we speak of sexual energy, we're not just dealing with biological impulses, but with an invisible thread connecting humans to the mystery of creation itself. For ancient peoples, this energy was everything: life force, manifestation power, and pathway to enlightenment. They didn't trivialize it or suppress it, they revered it. In ancient China, Taoist masters viewed semen, or jing, as the most concentrated form of vital energy in the body. They said, to lose jing is to lose life. Therefore, they developed precise techniques for retaining and recirculating this force, like the microcosmic orbit, where sexual energy was conducted up the spine to the crown of the head, nourishing the brain and awakening higher levels of consciousness. These sages observed that each drop of semen or sexual fluid was an alchemical condensation of minerals, hormones, and electromagnetic energy. People who lived harmoniously with nature's rhythm, far from modern distractions, already understood what current science is beginning to perceive. Vitality depends directly on how we use this force. But it wasn't only in China. In Vedic India, Tantric masters saw desire as a manifestation of goddess Shakti, the cosmic creative force. They didn't deny sexual energy, but used it as fuel for spiritual ascension. The practice of maithana, for example, went far beyond the physical act. It was a ritualized union between opposites, where orgasm wasn't the end, but the opening of a portal between worlds. Through conscious breathing, specific muscle contractions, and visualization, practitioners elevated sexual energy up the spine, awakening Kundalini, the fire serpent sleeping at the base of the column. When this energy reached the pineal gland, the practitioner entered altered states of consciousness, received visions, wisdom, and profound connection with the divine. In medieval European alchemy, this knowledge also existed, though hidden beneath symbols. Alchemists spoke of the union of sulfur and mercury, representations of inner masculine and feminine that, when integrated, generate the philosopher's stone. This stone wasn't physical, it was the symbol of being's transmutation, a process requiring mastery of impulses and elevation of energy to higher planes. Even in ancient Egypt, mystery school priests used sexual rituals to access superior states of consciousness. The union between Isis and Osiris was more than myth. It represented the sacred marriage between polarities, whose objective was to generate not children, but magnetic fields potent enough to channel cosmic energy and receive instructions from the Neteru, the stellar gods. The similarity between all these cultures is striking. In none of them was sex merely recreation. In none was pleasure the villain. In all there was consciousness, reverence, and purpose. Sexual energy was seen as a sacred resource that could be wasted with consequences or utilized as fuel to create health, longevity, lucidity, and even spiritual power. Why then in our days has this wisdom been almost erased from our collective memory? Why did they transform something so potent into something banal? Perhaps because a being who masters their energy is a free being, and free beings are dangerous to any structure that feeds on weakness, distraction, and dependency. Could these millennial teachings unlock forgotten secrets about our mind, body, and soul? What if what the ancients knew is precisely what we need to remember now amid so much noise, fatigue, and disconnection? What if mastering this energy is the first step to reclaiming everything that was always rightfully yours? Desire isn't an enemy, it's the messenger, a primitive force pulsing in your depths, carrying creation's code. But without direction, this force becomes scattered, unstable, and self-destructive. This is why sexual transmutation is one of the greatest secrets of inner alchemy. It transforms raw desire's fire into conscious light, elevating the practitioner to a new level of power. Imagine the body as a generator. Sexual energy, in this scenario, is the densest and most potent fuel that exists. When this energy is wasted, the generator weakens. But when it's redirected with consciousness, it begins feeding not only physical organs, but also subtle energy centers, the chakras, activating dormant capacities that were sleeping. Modern science begins validating this. Neurobiological studies show that conscious abstinence, combined with breathing practices and meditation, significantly increases dopamine, testosterone, and endorphin levels, substances directly linked to motivation, mental clarity, and lasting well-being. But the ancients knew this long before laboratories existed. In Taoism, for example, they taught that by retaining semen and directing energy upward with breathing assistance and pubicoxygeus muscle contraction, the practitioner could not only avoid vitality loss, but regenerate internal organs and expand spiritual perception. This practice is called the microcosmic circuit, where energy is carried from the spine's base to the head's crown, then descends down the body's front to return to the base. This continuous flow not only prevents energetic collapse caused by unconscious ejaculation, but also strengthens the immune system, calms emotions, and amplifies the personal electromagnetic field. In Tantra, this same practice has another name: Kundalini rising. Ascending through the Sushumna, Ida, and Pingala channels, sexual energy awakens and illuminates energy centers, unblocking traumas, expanding creativity, and releasing previously inaccessible states of consciousness. But attention is required. Transmutation isn't repression. Repression creates tension and blockage. Transmutation is intelligent redirection, like transforming steam into electricity. Energy rises, spins the mind's turbines, lights consciousness's bulbs. For this, some practices are fundamental. Deep breathing is first, inhaling slowly and deeply, visualizing energy rising up the spine. Breathing while relaxing muscles, allowing energy to distribute throughout the body. This prevents desire from accumulating only in the genitals and transforms it into distributed vital force. Pubicoxygeus muscle contraction is the second essential technique. During arousal, lightly contracting this muscle prevents semen release and acts as a pump that propels energy upward. With time, the body learns to separate orgasm from ejaculation, a milestone on the path to sexual mastery. But the true differential lies in intention. When self-pleasure is performed with elevated intention, like health, clarity, magnetism, creativity, it transforms into ritual. Energy isn't lost, it organizes, it refines. Visualizing light ascending the spine to the pineal gland is one of the most powerful ways to guide this process, and the effects are real. Practitioners report more focus, more daily energy, more empathy in relationships, more presence. As if fog were dissipated and new clarity occupied its place. Are we then facing a forgotten spiritual technology? A practical key that transforms sexual impulse into fuel for the soul. Are you ready to stop being desire's prisoner and begin molding it as a creative force, shaping your own reality from within? Before the next theme, we have something special for you who made it this far. Did you know there exists a forbidden mental technique revealed in a hidden biblical chapter, recently discovered and confirmed by science? That world leaders and celebrities use this ancestral method to manifest their desires and control their reality, and that the church tried to censor this knowledge for over 15 years because it activates brain areas you never imagined using. Yes, all this was recently revealed, and many people are accessing this secret technique and being amazed by the results they achieve. If you want to discover more about this hidden mental power, pause the video now, point your phone's camera at the QR code appearing on screen, and access this knowledge that changed thousands of lives. Or if you prefer, click the link we left in the first pinned comment below this video. Mastering sexual energy isn't an act of denial, but of creation. It's the birth of a new state of being. From the moment you learn to direct this force with consciousness, every thought, every breath, and every choice transforms into acts of practical alchemy. This is exactly what ancient masters meant when they spoke of transforming lead into gold. It wasn't about metals, it was about you. At this point on the path, it's no longer just about containing impulses, but embodying a new identity. The modern alchemist doesn't live in caves or wear robes. They inhabit daily life with presence, wisdom, and refined energy. And their main tool is how they handle their own pleasure. Because true pleasure isn't momentary, it's expansive. It's that sensation of being in tune with something greater, of feeling the body vibrate in harmony with mind and soul. It's the magnetism you exude when entering an environment. It's the clarity that guides you even amid chaos. And all this begins with how you relate to your sexual energy. The ancients knew this force when well-channeled, strengthened organs, sharpened intuition, amplified personal electromagnetic field, and even attracted opportunities. Yes, sexual energy is a bridge between internal and external worlds. Practices like Taoism's inner smile, for example, demonstrate this. In this technique, you smile at your own organs, send positive energy to each body part, and direct sexual energy to nourish these regions. Sounds simple? It is, but it's profoundly transformative. The body responds to what the mind projects. Another pillar of this path is inner listening. There's no rigid pattern of retention or abstinence. There's balance. The body speaks, and when you're present, you know how to discern between compulsive impulse and true call to connection. Sometimes allowing yourself conscious release without guilt is part of the healing process. The difference lies in intention and presence. But perhaps the most revolutionary point of all is this. When you master your sexual energy, you stop seeking outside what already vibrates within. Emptiness disappears, desire stops being a prison and becomes an ally. You become whole, and it's in this state of wholeness that reality begins responding differently. Ideas flow more easily. People perceive your presence without you saying a word. Life seems to conspire in your favor because energetically you're in coherence. This isn't vague esotericism, it's applied bioenergy. You begin perceiving that your sexuality isn't an isolated part of life. It's connected to your power to manifest, communicate, heal, and love. Every choice you make based on consciousness of this force redefines your identity. This is the true secret. Self-pleasure, when elevated to an act of alchemy, doesn't just serve to conserve energy. It transforms, it awakens, it reconnects you with your deepest purpose. And once you experience this elevated version of yourself, there's no going back. You become master of your temple, guardian of your creative force, and architect of a new reality. But then the question arises that echoes like thunder in silence. If all this power is pulsing within you right now, what are you waiting for to awaken it? If you've made it this far, something inside you has already begun to change. I'm not just talking about understanding concepts or techniques, but about a deeper calling, one that echoes when the soul recognizes truth that has slept too long. The energy pulsing in you isn't common. It's sacred, it's creative, and now you have the keys to awaken this power consciously. I remember the first time I learned about energetic retention. It seemed too mystical, almost unbelievable, but after experiencing it, everything made sense. It was as if my entire body had been reconfigured. Mental clarity increased, my intuition skyrocketed, and for the first time in years, I felt truly in control of myself. It wasn't about stopping something. It was about starting to do everything with more consciousness. This is the invitation. Now, if you enjoyed this journey so far, leave your comment with that question hammering in your head, and subscribe to the channel. Seriously, if you've held your energy this far, holding the subscribe button will be easy. Hit the bell because the next revelation might land in your lap or your pineal gland. And look, you'll want to click on one of these two videos appearing on screen now. One of them hides a teaching that was forbidden for centuries, and the other, let's say it's already left many people jaw-dropped with energy way up high. But I won't tell you which is which. Click and discover. What you'll feel goes beyond words.